Lena Grace didn't cry when the judge asked if she had anything to say. She didn't tremble, didn't flinch, didn't even blink. She simply stood there, small, exhausted, and alone, while the man who had once promised to love her stared across the courtroom with the smugness of someone convinced he had already won. Everyone in the room thought she looked defeated. But they hadn't seen what she had been through to get there. And they definitely didn't know what was coming. Lena had spent the last 3 years married to Ethan Caldwell, a charming businessman on the outside, a storm of control and cruelty behind closed doors. The manipulation didn't start with shouting. It began quietly, a suggestion, then a request, and finally a demand. "Quit your job, Lena. I can take care of you. Stop seeing your friends so much. They don't understand us. Don't question me. I know what's best." Lena didn't notice the walls closing in until she found herself trapped behind them. He controlled every dollar, every decision, every piece of her life until the night she realized she wasn't surviving anymore, just existing. She packed a small bag, stuffed with more fear than belongings, and walked out while Ethan slept. But Ethan didn't believe she had the right to leave him. He filed for sole ownership of their home, demanded she repay every dollar he ever spent on her, and accused her of abandoning the marriage without cause. He had money, influence, and a legal team that seemed ready to swallow her whole. Lena had nothing, no job, no savings, and no family nearby. At least, that's what Ethan thought. 2 weeks before the hearing, Lena stumbled into the office of a small law firm run by Marcus and Abigail Ross, siblings known for taking cases most attorneys turned down. They listened to her story silently, not with pity, but with a sharp focus that unsettled her. When she finished, Marcus leaned forward. "Lena, everything he's done is documented in what you just told us. Tell me you have emails, messages, financial statements, anything." She nodded weakly. "Yes. I kept everything. I didn't even know why." Abigail smiled gently. "You knew you'd need it someday. And that day is now." What Lena didn't realize was that the two lawyers worked day and night preparing a file hundreds of pages long detailing every financial manipulation, every recorded demand, every message that proved Ethan controlled her life like a puppeteer. The more they uncovered, the more the case shifted from a simple divorce to a battle for her freedom. But Ethan walked into court assuming Lena had no one. When he first saw her standing alone, he smirked. Then, the double doors opened. Marcus and Abigail strode in, carrying a thick navy blue binder between them. They nodded respectfully at the judge, then at Lena, who felt her knees tremble with a strange, unfamiliar feeling. "Hope." Ethan's smug expression flickered. "What is that?" he snapped. Abigail placed the binder gently on their table. "Evidence." The hearing began with Ethan's attorney painting Lena as unstable, ungrateful, and financially irresponsible. Lena kept her eyes on her hands, trying not to absorb the venomous words. When it was their turn, Marcus stood. "Your Honor," he said calmly, "before we proceed with our statements, I would like to submit Exhibit A, a comprehensive record of Mr. Caldwell's psychological, financial, and emotional control over my client, Mrs. Grace." He opened the binder. Page after page revealed timestamps, screenshots, bank transfers, recorded restrictions, messages demanding Lena report her spending, her location, her clothing choices. Ethan's face paled. His lawyer audibly swallowed. But Marcus wasn't finished. "This is not a simple divorce," he continued. "This is a case of coercive control, a pattern of behavior designed to strip Mrs. Grace of her independence, autonomy, and dignity." Lena had never heard anyone speak for her like that. Her eyes stung, but she didn't cry. Not today. Abigail stepped forward next, presenting witness statements from Lena's former co-workers, neighbors, and even her old friends, people Ethan forced her to abandon, who testified to the changes they saw in her. Finally, they played a short audio clip Ethan had forgotten existed, a voicemail where he threatened to cut her off financially for questioning him. Ethan shot up from his seat. "This is taken out of context." But the judge silenced him with a raised hand. The courtroom was silent. The once helpless woman now stood shielded by truth. When the ruling finally came, the judge's voice was steady and resolute. Mr. Caldwell, due to overwhelming evidence of coercive control, the court awards Mrs. Grace full financial restitution, an equitable division of assets, and a protective order. Furthermore, she is under no obligation to repay any funds you allege were spent on her. A quiet gasp rippled through the room. Ethan's jaw dropped as Lena's attorneys gently touched her shoulder. She had won. Not because she was stronger than Ethan's power, but because she found the strength to seek help and the courage to stand. Outside the courthouse, sunlight warmed her face. Lena released the breath she'd been holding for 3 years. She wasn't the timid woman Ethan believed her to be. She wasn't helpless. She simply needed someone to believe in her long enough for her to remember who she was. Marcus closed his briefcase. "You did great in there." Lena smiled, really smiled, for the first time in years. "Thank you. Both of you. I don't know how to repay you." Abigail shook her head. "Just live your life, Lena. A free one." Lena walked away knowing something deeply, beautifully true. Her past shaped her, but it would not define her. And her story, painful, messy, triumphant, wasn't a tale of defeat. It was the beginning of her becoming. Final message. No matter how small or powerless someone feels, courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's packing a bag in the dark. Sometimes it's asking for help. And sometimes it's walking into a courtroom looking helpless only to walk out victorious.